Okay, can we get going? The time is 7:33 by the library clock. Welcome to the regular meeting of the EDC. Duncan is on Zoom, obviously. Oscar is unable to join us, but we do have a quorum here with 6 of us here in the room with Duncan as well. So I think we're fine. First thing is minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes that Bianca sent out? Any corrections, observations? Can I have a vote to approve? Thank you.
Who makes the motion?
That was quick. And then I thought it was probably worth putting this under communications. I thought this letter from Michael Carr at Three Guys was just terrific. It's really a tribute to what you did, Matt. But here was someone saying thank you for the success Cornwall did and for the difference it made to his business. And Richard, I think you said that your business also saw an appreciable pickup.
There were a lot of people. We had a lot of people at the wine tasting, so a lot of those wines. It's always hard to judge where and how people are showing up or why. I guess the why is the hard part.
But they did.
But they did, yes. Which is better to ponder than not. Because even then you don't always know why. I think the weather was actually pretty good until the end.
Right.
I mean, it didn't start raining, pouring, actually. 5:15.
And how did you do, Bianca? Oh my God. Bianca, what was your experience?
It was mixed because it was a whole day. It was busy in the first part of the day, and later on, I think it fizzled out a bit. It got really hot and steamy towards the end of the day. I think the book signing was pretty well attended. And throughout the day, it was festive and bubbly. But yeah, towards the end, it just, I think the fact that the chalk thing and what Ron Goldstein also noted, that canceled, that threw things off. I mean, he was voting, but we just sort of moved it all up to where the music was.
Right, well, Frank had to cancel his music.
Yeah.
And the kid chalk craft thing that I said did still happened, but that happened earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think getting that letter was absolutely super. But Matt, why don't you give us your feedback on how you think the day went, what worked, what didn't, and what should we get right next year, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit last meeting too, and I haven't done it. Well, although I shouldn't say that, I did send out an email to our business email list now that we have that, which is nice. And I got a couple of people with positive, things to say. Some, not only a small handful. So I think maybe we want to have a follow. I don't know if people have the energy now for that though. It's kind of like, do we save the next? How can we build on it and do better next year for a few months from now? Or maybe that's just me. But I think that would be the next step. That just to get the group back together again and maybe think about ways to improve it. We can't control the weather, so poor Frank had to pay for his band when he didn't, and he had to cancel the band because it was the kind of band that has a cancellation fee, So yeah, I think I wasn't actually here that day. I had a family trip, but I think overall, just from looking at the first year, or not really the first year that we brought it back, I guess the first year versus the second year. I just think there was significantly more engagement, more enthusiasm, more foot traffic in both places. So I think I take that as like, just keep building on that. I think it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Neil's, I can't see that, but Neil's not on, is he?
No.
Again, I know we talked about this last week, but thinking about it over the past month, the idea of sending out, a postcard calendar of 8 key events in Cornwall over the summer. Cornwall Day, the food festival, which I think was seemed to be remarkably well attended and successful. The Rosal Grand art show, the book sale, etc. And you've got a fabulously full calendar. And I was hoping Neil would be on to talk about a way of making that something attractive that people could pin on their news boards or
good idea.
onto
So
their-
it's something that could even go to. I mean, I always try to put things in Kent, Millerton, and other towns that I personally go to. So like a summer, just a summer in Cornwall, visit us for these events kind of thing. It's a good idea.
And then, for another project, I've been looking at some of these electronic calendars that we have in Cornwall, in Connecticut, and I found about 4, I think, that list all the art fairs and festivals and events. And again, so we should check with Neil that we're getting picked up on all of those.
We were on the, I don't know if it's the biggest one in terms of traffic, but the CT visit.
Yeah.
We could put everything
That's
on
probably
that,
the
so,
biggest.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's good.
Well, this conversation has evolved into an idea that I was positing before, which is the idea of engaging someone, paying them to actually do marketing for Cornwall tourism. Someone who knows what they're doing for, how to attract small town visitors. Lots of ideas.
I mean, we could, because I have sat in on a couple of the meetings with the Tourism Bureau and the CT visit, they of course have, I guess my first thought is it's a good thought if we wanted to kind of invest a little bit of money that way to make it a more robust marketing plan. Neil is amazing, as we all know, and I'm kind of there to back him up too, but the CT visit folks do have a lot of resources and in terms of the agencies that they use and how they get the word out. So I could kind of talk to them a little bit about if that's just one thought that comes to my mind. Not that we would have to use that, but they are so organized with their marketing that it would be a thought, I guess. Yeah.
But again, I think all these things just underline the fact that Cornwall really is a year-round destination. Everyone knows it's good in winter because of the snow, Mohawk, and all the rest of it. But we've actually got a lot of good things happening in the summer. And I just think any way that we can make people think of that, we'll come in. For example, the library's going to be putting on the art sale in 2 weeks. There's some pretty fantastic picnic. I've been going through a catalogue. I shouldn't say that at this point, but there's some very nice things that have been given by people in town, and for someone who's interested in buying art at pretty attractive prices, it's a real event. Ann Coffin does an amazing job hanging it, so we're getting New York gallery expertise hanging some quality pictures, and that should attract a lot of people from out of town too. Anyway, I just think we should think about, perhaps that's a project for us early next year, and we do need Neil, clearly.
I have one idea. So Jackie Schiller, who used to also be on the EDC, she's done a lot of work for Rose Alburn Show, for the library. I think she might be a good person because she was also the one who forwarded me the Visit CT thing for the Big E. So she always keeps her eye out, and I think she's done a lot of promoting more on social media, not Facebook and some other entities. She writes a lot, so she might be a really good person to reach out to. And she's local, she knows what's going on in the area and around.
Do you have a view on this one?
I was just wondering, would an event like the library things, which are another very well done thing, are you plugged into Visit Connecticut so it goes beyond the little boundaries? I mean, something like that. I mean, I would think. I'm not sure how quickly.
Well,
We did do that. I mean, we didn't
I mean, I was just thinking for the
pay for advertising.
I mean, I just think for the library thing, would it, are you familiar enough, are we familiar enough with this to think that it's an annual event to put that on?
someone who's much more knowledgeable about these things is looking into that right now.
Right.
The library.
Right, and Margaret did mention when she was our guest that she gets a lot of PR, so she gets, you know, just free media promotion, but I think she did mention that she does a couple of paid ads on these different events too. I'm not sure about this one, but certainly the garden tour, she has like, I think she has more of an advertising budget for that one.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not trying to necessarily boost the library. I'm really trying to boost Cornwall. And you know,
I think that
they're pretty
the
attractive.
line I'm saying is that there's always something happening.
Yeah.
It's really, there's always something happening. If you didn't do anything but go to town events or town functions, worthy functions, you'd have a busy calendar. If that's all you did, forget about anything with your own family. Or doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. That's really, there's something every weekend, if not 3 things.
I think that's exactly right.
But what I think what you're saying, Simon, which I like to think about and build on, is that the EDC can be the catalyst for promoting all of these things under one umbrella or one campaign, or, you know, if we decided to do that, we would have to come up with this way of making it a more umbrella thing, not just like the library has this, you know.
Put it much more elegantly than
Yeah.
I did, but that's exactly what I did.
Okay, yeah, so I think, I can talk to Jackie too, like, work with her on Chronicle.
And it's, you know, I think it's also important for new people coming into Cornwall, you know, to realise just how much is going on here. You know, we've got, I guess, the newcomers event has that come up or has that gone now?
It's September.
September
30th.
Yeah. That's something that we need to really make sure gets across. Is anyone going to that, by the way? I think that no one's making presentations this year, as I understand it.
Well, you have it. I don't know, Gary, is that your?
Yeah, it's mine.
Are we making
What's the
presentations or we're not
date?
making presentations?
September 30th. You'll see it in the Chronicle on September 1st in some insert.
Well, I just think that that's something that really needs, I don't know if you're hosting it,
I mean, I can go to
that's something that really needs to come across. Just, you know, if you're new in town and don't know anyone, start coming to these events and you'll have 50 friends before you know it.
Everyone new within the last 3 years has received a personal invitation.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Anyway, thanks to Mayor for organising that. I think it was
Well done.
it was a successful effort. Business roundtable. Sorry to keep you
Yeah, no,
on
it's
the
okay.
spot.
I haven't really done anything since the last time, like just letting it all kind of settle. But I mean, I think I need some input from other commissioners on the roundtables, because there was good attendance and interest in the specific thing about Cornwall Day, and so that was a nice series of roundtables. I know it's important to revisit the sustainable CT and trying to figure out, I think Duncan is on that, but trying to figure out how to get more engagement in that. So I think that roundtables are such a good idea, and actually they're part of sustainable CT.
Right, exactly. So
So-
one thing, Jason Coppola, who's now the permanent director at Trinity Retreat Center, had reached out and he would like to host the next sort of, either roundtable or like a business gathering at Trinity, to just invite more people down their way.
Mhm.
So maybe we can think about that, and at that to maybe have Duncan do a promo for the sustainable CT, so that when all these businesses come together, we all get a snippet of what that is all about and how we can work with that and get people interested.
Maybe it being at Trinity would make more
Right.
people come, and we can have a little.
Exactly, and it could be
Food or
again
something.
like
Right.
the first business gathering, that we have something just generic, essentially, just getting people together, sort of for a social hour.
Right.
I think for the evening one, you had one in the evening as opposed to the afternoon, was it?
We did, for the Cornwall Day, we did them at 9 a.m. and they were well attended. the afternoon one was a sustainable CT and it wasn't relative.
Not so well.
It was at a weird time though. I do think, I don't know, I
I
think
just wonder for
morning,
businesses, if the evening might be a time when some business owners can actually come more readily.
yeah, Duncan?
Can I just say something? I think the word sustainable CT sort of turn off the local businesses very easily. They imagine it's about regulation and, things they're not supposed to do. And so we have a bit of an uphill battle to convince them that sustainable CT is in fact a funding source and a workforce development source and a marketing resource. So when Kate gets back, I'm going to try and put my head together with her and see if we can come up with some ways to kind of rekindle some interest in the program without having to use the sort of general sustainable CT thing. What do they do?
No.
Yeah, Richard's dropping
That
that.
sounds like a good idea.
Sorry about
We have a phone, going crazy in the back. But we did hear you, and I think you're right. I think the first time can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Okay. The first time that I heard about sustainable CT, not just the title of it sounds overwhelming and like, oh wait, it's gonna be regulations or something, but it just doesn't have one thing to focus on, so I think business owners might get very overwhelmed by that, but if we can take a piece of it and it would be nice at Trinity, I think people would like that. I think people like the morning, but I'm not a business owner.
But I think that might be actually nicer if we did that in the, sort of like, maybe part
More
of the,
the-
yeah, more
yeah, okay.
evening, like we did the first time, because,
Like the library one, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
that'd be nice.
more, something
Right.
more, that doesn't immediately say it's gonna be just about sustainable city.
Right.
So,
Right.
more like a, happy hour.
Right, yeah, okay.
Cornwall happy hour.
But it does sound like Duncan needs to explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the next
Yeah.
roundtable.
Yeah,
And
That would be
very
good.
clear terms. Because I must say, when I first saw all that paperwork, it did look slightly prescriptive.
Always.
yeah.
Wrong.
All right, terrific, thank you. Gary?
Our budget is 6,500 as of today. Nothing's been spent for the fiscal year, and nothing is reserved.
Good.
I mean, one thing on that, do we want to simply look at the budget for Cornwall Day at least and itemize that into, committed or whatever we want to call it, or planned, I guess I
Do you
should
want to
say.
take a stab at
Sure,
coming up with a budget for next year's Cornwall Day,
sure.
which would be a good launching point into a larger discussion of how much do you want to evolve it, grow it?
Right,
Sure, I mean, that's great.
And
I
then
appreciate it.
yeah.
we've also got 12 days of Christmas.
Well, so Bill McLean let me know that he probably won't be able to do it this year because he's working again, and really he had so much time on his hand the first year around, and last year was already a stretch for him because he was just flat out. But I think maybe the lights, the Christmas lights could take over for that, and could be a festive event. Maybe we could have carols singing, and we could have little, hot chocolate in places, and just make it a community event that could just, grow.
So not necessarily with the art in the windows, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because someone would have to really take that on as a project.
It's a lot of
That seems
work.
like a very
It
big job.
is a lot of work, extremely,
Right.
and getting all these windows then put together.
Carol singing is a nice idea, and it's not an expensive idea.
Right.
Hot
It's
chocolate.
actually a great idea, because there will be a night when the winter lights around the three town centers are lit, and having hot chocolate, or having some other draw besides just seeing the lights the first time.
Yeah.
Is that a parking?
No.
Going
I'll
to
just say
say,
with the Carol and the parks.
For the event, there, as a number of years in Cornwall Bridge, when the tree was turned down, there was singing. It hasn't happened the last year or two, but there were a number of years that there were large numbers of people there, the tree was lit. a tree went
The
on,
day after
the
Thanksgiving.
day after that, the other day.
I think we'll probably do that again when we get to the market.
Right, I think that's, yeah, last year that was part of the problem.
Yeah,
We would have fireworks from that.
so.
Will your lights switch on the same day as the
They
main tree?
can, it's not defined yet, so that's, that's certainly
Sounds
possible.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be better to have both events on the
Yeah.
same day, I would think.
Do that, it'd be interesting to light the tree and then light up the building.
Yeah.
Gordon, who coordinates the lighting from the town's perspective? Is it John Porta?
It's Jim reported to me.
Jim? Okay. Okay, and yourself? Okay.
But we
Well,
aim to get it the day after Thanksgiving. And they run through New Year's.
Mhm.
Oh, I think that's an excellent idea.
I can talk to Will from the market.
How would we get song sheets and all that sort of thing?
They did, you know, not to volunteer, but
yeah,
people that I know, but
I'm
they
sorry,
did
I had a question off the
caroling
table.
at
Just
the
looking.
library, here, at the
Right.
library. Anyone there?
Yeah.
There was a group, because there's a few people who know what they're doing, like Ben Lesh, for one. He and other people were, you know, they have a history of being in singing groups. There's a few people that sang here on the steps, and they definitely knew what they were doing. And they had sheet music in it. Yeah.
Sounds like we need to have a band.
And also, he works for the library, so there you go.
Right.
He'll be willing.
And we need to presumably to reproduce these songs and.
Yeah.
something.
And then, don't we have to pay royalties if we sing the song?
We won't post it on YouTube.
I think they're all dead by now.
Well,
It's public domain at that point, right? Yeah.
probably not a problem singing carols.
Right.
That's probably.
All right, the new map.
Okay, so Jackie Schiller had forwarded to me the call from, and I had forwarded to all of you, the call from the whatever, to submit material to the Big E, which is one of the largest expositions. And currently we only have 266 maps left anyway, so I think it might be a nice idea to submit maybe 500 and do a small reprint of 1,000 so that we can submit material because it gets picked up. I mean, do we want to do those maps? Yeah.
Where?
How fast will we go through 1,000?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because the reason I ask is because since things keep changing, and it doesn't cost us, it costs about the same to do
No.
105 again.
Right.
Whether
But
should-
we only have 200, so if we send off 500 to the Big E,
Okay.
then we only have 266 left right now.
Okay.
And we'll, you know, I mean, I don't think we'll update until next year. I mean, updated, they are automatically through the website then, because there we're more
So you think
flexible.
that's the right amount, not to
Yeah.
be saddled with out-of-date ones for
Yeah,
next year?
yeah, I think we'll get, I mean, especially because it's the foliage season coming up.
When were these last printed?
Just recently.
And the print run was,
I think we did 1,500. And she's giving us the same price for 500 for.
I'm sorry, we printed 1,500 and we've got 266 left.
Yeah.
But where did they,
sent out.
do they go from those visitor kiosks? By the way, the signs look really great. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
If anyone has seen the signs that they make, they look really great. Because they draw more attention to it. Is that mostly where they go, or do they go from all?
We're 1,200, yeah.
Yeah, where do
Certainly
they?
haven't given out that many. We've given out plenty, but not.
But are they at those kiosks? You think that, so you, like, after a month, you would back the kiosk and it's empty?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, for the moms there.
Post office.
Do you restock them in both places at the kiosk?
Right now, just the one by the bridge,
Okay.
because they don't get done.
No, that's okay.
But
I'm just curious, because I can
East
do
Spears
that.
usually does that. I
Okay.
think the area has taken some down in that direction, Cornwall Bridge.
Right,
we're
well,
not
it
feeling-
sounds like we need 1,000.
Yeah, because if 500 get sent off,
Yep.
um,
750.
You been to the BB?
no,
Did anybody at the table here been to the BB?
My kids go.
I don't even really know what it is.
If you think Ocean Fair times 100.
Interesting.
it's supposed to be the biggest American premier exposition and the world's only multi-state fair representing all 6 towns, states. So that's, and there's always a pretty big brouhaha about it. It's also, a lot about
Richard,
agriculture.
Have you been?
What?
And never have
40
time for
years
things
ago.
like
No,
this.
just to get some insight.
Once is enough for me.
Well, it's an interesting
I
field.
would think it's a little stretch to think that somebody's going to pick up a flyer in Springfield and bring it here. I think if we're printing stuff, we're better off putting them in the market or in places where the bike shop or your store, where people are already here. And you know they're going to get here. There may be mysteries in Cornwall they haven't figured out yet. But that was my thought was that people are going to pick up a lot of stuff, but the chances of that using it.
It's sort of like putting a lot of these in Mystic. Thousands and thousands of people went from Mystic. Are they going to end up here?
Someone picking this up out of this area, I don't think it's going to have much impact. I resonate with what Gordon said. If you're at the kiosk and you pick it up, you're going to then act on it.
Right.
Or even in Sharon.
Right,
Or
somewhere local.
Or the Ocean Fair.
Like Ocean Fair, yeah.
And we're also in the midst of trying to update the business directory.
Right.
I would pause and try and actually upgrade this. It's a little bland for today's environment. It's just 2 tones.
That's
What
kind
do you call
of
it?
deliberate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's kind of deliberate. It is, it's trying not to blend in with all those glossy things that look very commercial. It's trying to say Cornwall in a certain way, and I think it does by being a little bit two-tone and off-white and.
But I think it's,
sexy-tone.
yeah, I kind of like the way, but I think the important thing is, and something comes to mind, looking back to what Simon suggested earlier, this is so handy if you're literally driving through and you're wondering where else to go. But maybe a postcard, that isn't too glossy, it still has some of the Cornwall laid back vibe to it, that is more summer focused. Yeah, thinking about the messaging. Maybe that piece could serve those farther away places that, you might just pick up and see the picture of the covered bridge and that there's 5 things happening that are in the summer, and you might go there one weekend, I don't know.
And Gordon's point about the Goshen Fair was interesting. Is there a facility is there the opportunity in there to lay these materials out? Or are we going to have to walk through a car park and put them on people's windows?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think more just educate people that are mostly here.
Right.
The thing that makes sense to me would be, and it takes time to do it, but every bed and breakfast, in the surrounding area.
Mhm.
Try to
House.
include, Sharon, Lakeville,
Yeah.
Salisbury,
Yeah.
even if somebody were to take them and put them in all those places, because those people are looking for things to do. They want places to go and things to do, and they would come and rent a bike, go for a ride, shop at the shows or what have you.
So the
So,
Airbnbs.
yeah, I think that's a really good
That's
place
where
to
you
put
can
them.
get people.
Because those people are looking, they like
Yeah.
to shop.
Well, they're already in town for one.
Right.
It's an easier haul.
Is there a list of E&Bs in Cornwall?
You can find it.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's one opposite me.
If you're printed in time, I'm actually, I go around with all the Playwood flyers and do a lot of that sort of thing, which is a job I hate, but I do it.
Yeah.
So if I had them at the same time, I could hit a bunch of places.
Jane, when would that be?
Well, soon, I'm going around with them like very soon. But I mean, I could make it.
I mean, that's-
something.
Yeah, no, I mean, they can get printed right away, because there aren't any So like next week or the
Yeah.
week after?
What did we pay for this last 1,500,
Well, it would be,
1,200, whatever we had?
it would have been Yeah.
375.
375, exactly.
For the, there was a 1,200, you said?
They're
1,500.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we don't, so it sounds like we might not use it for the big E,
Right.
and then maybe that's a future opportunity, but it sounds like we need them anyway,
That's
so
my-
we're gonna.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Right.
So
How badly does it need to be updated?
the market is on there.
There's a-
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
This goes in
fine.
hand with the
It
discussion
doesn't
about
be perfect, but it's
business.
95% fine.
Okay, that's good enough, isn't it?
Things coming
That's right.
up.
That's it.
All right, are you okay with that, Bianca?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that makes a
I
lot of
think it'd be
sense.
good to get it for the leaf season.
Yeah.
And we've got to figure out how to get it, how to get the little holder topped up down by the market.
Right.
Oh, because it gets wet or something?
Well, no, just because people, if they don't see the map, it's a missed opportunity.
Right, oh, I see. Right.
All right, so I guess the motion is to purchase 1,000 of these maps at the price of $250. Now, someone propose?
I propose.
Excellent, I'll second. All in favour?
Aye.
Anyone against? Okay,
Really?
excellent.
Yeah, all right.
No repairs, good. All right, so that's done.
Local distribution.
Yeah. I think so. Okay, the next item on the agenda, I think we need to be a bit careful about. I don't want to talk specifically about the nature of the conversation, the specific suggestions that were made in our discussion through the arts people. But I do want to recognise the fact that you did hold the meetings. You and Oscar went down there and chatted, and I'm sure you gave good advice. And I think that's just terrific. I don't think we need to say anything more in a public forum. But I just want to thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, and then was, unfortunately Oscar's not here, but he had the idea of, which he wanted to revive, of starting a playbook for how to get a business up and running in Cornwall. Is that something, do we have anything like that in your tool chest?
I haven't seen
A
it.
tutorial?
Well,
What's wrong with
like
this?
5 pages of the steps you need to take.
I don't.
Talk to Bianca and Richard
You know,
for
I-
8 hours
You
each.
know, I think it's really a
Don't
dream
do it.
to tell anyone that you can have a business plan and just follow through on it, because there'll be something that'll derail that plan. You know, in the next month over, there'll be a hurricane, there'll be a this or that. It really, I mean, you can have an idea of what you want to do, but I think you have to constantly, the most important thing is to listen what the public wants to. I mean, you have a core business, but you constantly have to modify. And
Right, I think what he was getting at there was more how to get a business going in Cornwall rather
I
than
think Cornwall, they,
business. Sorry?
I mean, in my experience with it, which is only one, the town hall meeting has all that information, really. You have to get your
I mean,
permits.
that seems to be the very first step.
Yeah, you have to get a permit, you know. Do whatever they ask you to do and provide whatever information is asked for. It's sort of basic.
I would be cautious undertaking this in that the result would then be perceived by someone as this is all I need to do, and if it isn't all I need to do in the exact order,
That's fair.
as Bianca you said, the reference is town hall and planning and zoning.
It's also going to vary with the type of business, the different things they do.
But I think, as these changes go through to the P&Z rules, and hopefully things get easier. I hear rumours there's a cider mill trying to get started, for example.
So, but there is, I mean, I think it is a good thing to maybe under-publicize that what can happen here in town is laid out in the planning zone regulations, and those have been recently reformatted and made much more understandable and consistent internally. So I think some towns don't allow you to have home businesses, and just think about a couple of new little bakeries in town and stuff that have sprouted up. So there are opportunities, and those rules are laid out pretty thoroughly in the zoning regulations. And the second piece is you have to get the health district approval, and sometimes you have to get state permits to manufacture, especially food and things. But it's pretty straightforward, and it's not a bad idea to let prospective people know that it is possible to do things in ways that may not be obvious.
I mean, maybe we could start as just a resource, and I'm not sure what Oscar exactly was thinking, but it's just a resource, literally like a list of,
Where to
you know,
go.
10 steps to start your home-based business in
Not
Cornwall or
necessarily
something.
10 steps, but 10 potential permits that may be necessary. The
Right,
building official, the fire marshal, Torrington Area Health,
right,
planning and zoning, the selectman's office.
Right.
Each different things, different proposals would require different permits.
right.
If you're not doing food, you don't need Torrington Area Health. If you're not going to have a gathering of people, you probably don't need the fire marshal.
Right,
Maybe there's a way to direct.
But you probably need
people-
P and Z on anything.
Yeah,
right. So maybe,
direct people to the planning and zoning
right,
ordinances, which state pretty clearly what we can and can't do,
okay.
as a starting place, anyway.
I kind of like that idea, but let's take that up with Oscar.
Yeah.
Put this on phone and on
Right.
his shows.
Exactly.
All right. And then the last topic was, and I covered some of this at the beginning, was, the Taste of Cornwall, the Rose over in Berkshire. I mean, both extremely well attended. Again, I just think there's, underlying the liveliness of Cornwall in the summer months. Was anyone involved with the Taste of Cornwall?
I went, I was curious how the business part of it went, because they did have some tables for, and I went late, so I didn't see
Right.
that part.
I think that was mainly food related.
There were other vendors,
Were there?
birdhouses, yeah.
But I mean, basically, we're just lined up to get the chow, right?
And listen.
And the music.
And relax.
I think Park and Rec and Michelle Schiff and Jen did a great job.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
elevated it, made it a bigger event,
Yeah.
more attractive, more fun.
It's also like both of those events got very good press, and again, it sets a certain tone of activity and positive things going on that I thought was really good. There were people at the Taste of Cornwall saying they wish they did this in their town. So they came over, which is fine.
That's exactly what we want.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, that was great.
That's good feedback. Gordon, do you want to give us your report?
Let's see. Well, we're still working on getting through the environmental review of the West Cornwall wastewater project. We've had some progress this week, meeting with the Department for Housing and Urban Development. So hopefully we'll get those roadblocks taken out. And I'm going to write this week, a endorsement of grant proposal for the Cap and Clover Farm Creamery. They're applying for a state grant, so I saw that was one of the objectives of that.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
This is Cap and Clover Farm Creamery in Cornwall Bridge. On Route 7, they have a little farm store there, and they make cheese and milk and things. So again, it's one of the objectives of the commission to promote the agricultural sector. And again, there's sort of an under advertised place that just has some unique products. It's a very popular spot. And some good stories here. So that's another little side project. The fiber continues to be worked on, and Casey said that there are some numbers maybe activated soon. So that's again another big project that we're monitoring and helping to push forward. And again, working a couple of trying to stuff. I'm optimistic in the next month, maybe a month, on Cornwall Bridge. I think that will really be huge. We have had an intern in the office over the summer that's done a lot of research on electric vehicle charging stations. So we have met with Will and the owners of Frank's to try to get something in Cornwall Bridge in West Cornwall in, within a year's time. So that, again, I think would do a lot to bring, put Cornwall again on the map. People may not believe, but I'm pretty sure that there was almost 10 gas stations in Cornwall at one time in the 20s and 30s. And the economy was much more of a tourist town as far as having hotels and people come up here for the summer and weekends and on the train and cars and stuff. It's a lot more in traffic, but that was then, this is not now. That was going on all over the Northeast. People would leave the cities and go to the White Mountains and the Catskills or whatever. But this may be another resurgence of, if you have a reason for people to stop in and you're on a map, and there's a big push now for the state to try to make this more possible. So we're going to try to follow it up. And again, a couple more people are looking at opening up, little, businesses that might have a significant impact on the landscape. People are still up in our office thinking, what about that place, what about this place? So people are still kicking the tires at a healthy rate. So that's a good thing.
I think the most important thing, which I hear every day, is food. I have to send people into the next town over to get food. Food, a cafe, a place to sit down and have a muffin.
Marina's trying to have food.
Yeah, but there's nothing in our area right now, nothing, and it is painful. It's just really, Frank's is there, but why, people ask me, why isn't he open during the week for lunch? Why isn't he open during, it's summer and nothing is there. It is, for people like myself and 3 guys, that also rely on, people getting held in the town. It is painful to have this void of food. It's just really, it's
Well, we're
frustrating.
talking the markets there too, in Cornwall Bridge.
Yeah, that's it.
There's no food in Cornwall Bridge either.
Right.
Exactly, no, and but
coming,
no,
it's coming.
Oh, there is food gate, he gets there, but he's only,
Yeah, it's a morning.
when he's up, no, he's only open, he's not open in the evening.
No.
It's breakfast, it's only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I think with everything in town, that is one of our big problems, is that, I'm trying, basically, if I'm home, I'm open. And people show up. And a lot of people show up not because they have a passionate interest in pottery. They show up because they want someplace to go home.
What do you do? I don't care.
And then they buy pots because I'm there. And,
They want to buy something local too.
they do.
If they are
And
traveling from somewhere else, they really, that's what I get
I
asked.
send them to you.
Yeah, exactly, because people ask me, do you have anything produced by a local artisan? And so I'm like, yeah, this is the
But
best straight up.
But it's surprising how many, people do show up and they are looking for places to go and things to do, so. If they were,
One of the key things is being open.
it helps.
It really does, it's like Woody Allen, 90% of,
It is.
90% of success is showing up. I'm paraphrasing it, probably destroying the whole concept of what he said.
Yeah.
Being open is important. There are many businesses that have very, very limited hours, are trying to get open. There's the whole range of things. So it's I did hear though that, Will said that.
Simon?
Yes? Yes? Duncan?
He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, sorry, I'm just surprised I haven't heard anything in this meeting about a couple of projects. I'm trapped this week in the sauna of South Texas, so I'm not up to date necessarily, but there's something happening at the Pink House? And then what about Gordon's big adventure? Aren't we talking about that in town these days?
We talked about extensively in that. Last month, Gordon did update us during his report that there was some discussion of potentially opening a market in the Pink Houses. Has that?
Yeah, and it's, you know, I think eventually something's going to happen, but again, I've been helping Will for a year, and I don't think people can underestimate how hard it is to launch a business that is open 7 days a week. Just
How
like
about not only launch it, how about run it?
run it. I mean,
You are open, you're going.
and where are these people going to come from who run to be there 7 days a week? And I think I'm so optimistic, but I'm also realistic that, you know, working, you know, with Will on, you know, a pretty steady, a pretty easy concept that you have a delicatessen that with a wonderful traffic location and a great, you know, you can't go there without people stopping or you open.
And a 50-year history?
50-year history, and you know, you've got the lumber yard, you've got a built-in clientele. But just the reality of all the steps that have to be taken and the supply chain problems with the appliances and the utility upgrades, and then there's drainage. So anyway, that's why I don't want to get ahead of it. Because people come to me and say, what do I need to do? And I go through the thing about, you know, the different zones, and we have very limited business zones, but then if you're outside and you're a pre-existing business, and that's something different. So it's a complicated thing. But I do think the Pink House thing, you know, will happen in some form. As far as our family cider farm, I'm not really talking that up at public meetings just because I don't want to be seen as using a meeting to promote my own business. But my son is really doing it, and we can send you some publicity, and he wants publicity of what he's proposing to do. So, and again, that has been, you know, again, permits after permits to do stuff, but it's all part of the process of, you know, of getting established.
Yeah, I think that's what that was my sense as to what Oscar was wanting to lay out on sort of sheets somehow,
Right.
which I think would be good.
Would be nice.
Right. Well, I think we're all in the hands of Cornwall market until something happens. At this point, let's hope that happens soon.
And we are getting a little, this is a little off the topic, but not entirely, we're getting a little shout out in Yankee Magazine, just because.
Good.
I don't know how or why, but they wanted to do something about my pottery, so I said, yeah.
Hold on.
So that really puts Cornwall,
Right.
you know, I don't know who reads Yankee Magazine nowadays.
A lot of people, it's a New
Yeah,
England
that's in
thing.
New England,
So
yeah.
that is a place
Because my
where you.
parents read it when I was a kid, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it in a long time, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's Cornwall.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
helps.
Great. Well, that's it for the formal agenda. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up? Any members of the commission? Any members of the public?
Somebody's in the dark.
No response, good.
All right. Fine. Well, I think in that case, the next meeting will be on the 25th. It'll be hybrid in the same form, held here, which I think works. We need to watch out for the COVID statistics, but hopefully we'll be meeting here. And with that, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Excellent. Second. All in favour? Thank you very much. That's the end of the meeting.
That's it, right?
Yep.
All